intercepted. Joe Kelly. The ball at the 25-yard line, and Joe Kelly has put Washington in excellent position. Out of Los Angeles Jefferson High School. Fastest linebacker, and you saw how he took off with the ball.
Well, we saw a little earlier his disappointment when he dropped an interception. This time, watch Harbaugh. The Harbaugh has followed his receiver the whole way. It really is a poor selection, and Joe Kelly is right there. The ball was thrown right to him. This time, he holds on to it.
Do you have a favorite Husky play in Husky Stadium, or let's just say anywhere, any stadium, and a favorite Husky play that you'll remember for the end of time?
It had to be Stanford. You know, the Stanford game was just, you know, it's one of those games, you know, you're missing game. It was, you know, they better not run anybody in your area or they're going to get annihilated. You know, everything about that game, you know, it was, you couldn't do wrong. And that was Stanford. You know, I mean, I had a second interception on the back. You know, that's just how it happened. You know, sack, you know, pick six. The
pick six was, and we'll show this in a minute, but what did you end up running for a 40 as a junior?
My fastest ever was 4.49.
Okay, you know, so this 4.49, everybody, I just want to let you know that in that Stanford game, it turned into a 4.3. Yeah. Or maybe a 4.2.
Yeah, well.
And I got proof because Tim Peoples was the 100-meter champion of the state of California.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Peeps was trying to catch up to Joe Kelly. Joe Kelly had the ball, and Peeps couldn't catch up to him. And the quarterback had an easy angle, and that angle was destroyed.
Yeah.
You didn't have to juke him.
No.
You just outran him. Now Mima would have turned and ran at the quarterback, right?
Stopped.
Yeah, stopped and turned. I'll never forget that game because it's always tough to go to any California school because you're coming from 50-degree weather to 80.
Yeah.
You're coming from turf to grass. Mm-hmm. And not only that, we were undefeated. And it's just never given. It doesn't matter if it's Cal, Stanford, UCLA, USC. It's just and a lot of the fellas are going back home.
Yeah.
So there's that lack of concentration that maybe their girlfriend or their family or whatever. So I was really fearful of, and I was injured too. So I was playing hurt, and I was really fearful because we were undefeated, and our goal from day one was the national title, NT, and we always kept that to ourselves until postseason. We let the press know. But most teams get together and they say, "What Coach James wants to know what your goals are." And the team would have a meeting, and every year we want to win the Pac-10. We want to go to the Rose Bowl. We're like, no. Let's win a national title.
It was when you guys, the captains, man, we got together, man, and it wasn't. We didn't want to go to the Rose Bowl. We didn't want to, win, the Pac-10. We wanted to win it all, and we said it. Well, we said it in spring.
We did.
So it was, and this is coming. We're coming off of a season. I mean, we had a decent year, but we weren't a top tier, program, record wise.
Right. We came off two Aloha Bowls.
Yeah. So we're good, but we're not.
We're not ranked number one.
Yeah. So we knew then that spring, and it wasn't even going into spring ball. We knew that this is something special. This is something that probably has never been done at UW, and it hadn't. To put the guys, and it just so happened, the guys on that team, the guys on that defense, it was meant to be. Things happened to me. It was meant to be. And it was, man, and we shed blood, tears, and a lot of happiness, man. That year, that was 84, man. 84 was, Jimmy. That was special. Yeah. We did something special.
I'm getting fired up.
Yeah.
And we also knew the schedule.
Yeah.
And we knew, that we had Northwestern at home with Sandy Schwab, Charles Schwab's kid, which we couldn't wait because it was Charles Schwab's kid. Right. We wanted to kill him. Yeah, because we're not Charles Schwab's kid.
Right. Yeah.
So we wanted to kill Sandy, and we did. I think it was 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
But we knew that's right. Mm-hmm. But we knew the next game was at Michigan in the Big House. So with that in mind, Joe, this team this year, the Huskies this year, there September 11th, as we were talking earlier, are at Michigan. Do you have any words of wisdom, any advice?
You know, you go in and don't. You're going to go into one of the biggest stadiums in college football. I don't know if it's going to be at capacity, but you're just walking in. When you walk in and you play in stadiums like that of that stature, it could be intimidating if you allow it. But I think we salivated. We put more people here. So we can shut all 108 million of you up. So here, just going. I think being proud of, being a Husky. And going out there and it's the Pac-12 versus the Big Ten. And I live in Big Ten country, and I hate the Big Ten. And I'm always, I'm dog this, dog that. So, I'm just, guys just go in there confident, go in there, play physical ball, be physical. I think really now, just kind of watching teams lately, I think we have lacked in physicality, in my opinion. When you look at, me being in Big Ten country, living in Big Ten country and SEC, it's just been a lot more physical, than we have. I think we have the talent. I think we have the players, but I'm hoping that they're coached that way, because Lambeau, it was physical. It was physical from butt drills. And butt drills, it was a drill that before, when you're warming up, before practice, butt drills got pretty intense. And that's when you guys basically running into each other, hitting each other, getting your shoulders warmed up.
Full speed, though.
Full speed. And I understand now you only can go full speed certain days or whatever, but it's still football. We still play football. Football is still a physical sport, and football is still won in the trenches. And if we want to get our program back where it should be, based on our stadium, the city of Seattle, we should be able to attract the top players. Our tradition.
What are we lacking? As far as attraction,
it has to be. It has to be something to do with recruiting, because if you come here. I know Oregon with Nike and all that, but now if you come to our stadium and you look at our stadium, you look at our facilities, and you look at the city of Seattle, it's hard to compare.
Technology hub.
Yeah.
I mean, for post football.
Yeah. You
get your degree.
There's not a lot of programs, period, in the United States that can say that they have more to offer than you do. In the city of Seattle.
I'll go on record. If you play for the University of Washington and you stay in Seattle, you will have a career.
Exactly. So it comes down to here, recruiting and convincing a guy that is better to come here than go to USC or UCLA.
So you said earlier that you think we have the physicality, but we're not being as physical. So.
And I don't know if it's because physicality, because you can be 6'4", 275, and not be physical. Physicality is a mental state. You have a guys that you're playing football. There's always somebody bigger, faster, and stronger than you. But doesn't mean here I'm 185 pound linebacker. You're a 310 pound lineman. In my mind, physicality, I'm going to hit you in your mouth. I'm going to make you quit. I'm 185 pounds. If I don't believe that, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Because, just nature. That's 320. The 320 wins. That's a lot of weight. But it's a mindset. And I think, you captains, you guys started it. Us going into our junior year, my junior year, in spring ball. It was a mindset. It was nobody in the United States could have came in and convinced us that we weren't going to win the national championship. That was spring ball. That carried on. To the training camp. Leading with Northwestern all the way. even you know, we stumbled at sea.
And you talk about blood, sweat, and tears. Not that I want to brag about this, but after we did lose at USC, which was a flawless game, we thrived on turnovers. We averaged 4.3 turnovers per game, which led the country. Couldn't return a fumble.
Yeah.
So if we could have returned a fumble, who knows how many scores we would have had.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is when we lost that USC game, you saw some of the baddest ass people in the Northwest bawling like children.
Like
that whole locker room was just full of tears.
I was one of them.
Yes.
You know, then I was at home, you know, and losing to guys that, you know, we played them 10 times. We beat them 9.
Only one turnover.
Yeah,
offense.
You know, give us one score. One score. You
All
know.
year.
And then you know, their kicker, when he kicked 3 50-yard.
Right.
Jerk, you know, and we could hate him, you know, but it was, you know, I mean, we had to take it, you know, we had to take the good, you know, with the bad, man, and that was just unfortunate because there was no doubt we were better.
Joe, were you on the field when Freddie Small became a hero when he scored the touchdown?
No, I was still a senior in high school. So that
okay. So you were 1 year younger.
Yeah,
okay, my mistake. I thought you said you came up. He was your host.
He was my host.
Okay, so you weren't on the field for that one.
So you know, Freddie and I, we had played against each other in high school.
Okay.
Fred was the same size as a sophomore as he was when he came up here. So you know, I'm 165 pounds as a sophomore. You know, trying to, you know, and I was playing outside linebacker. You know, trying to hold Freddie. You know, and Fred was the man.
He was tough.
Yeah, Fred was tough.
He was scary.
Mm-hmm.
I was afraid of him.
Yeah.
So I was taught, I learned in my freshman year, if you get in a fight on field and you win the fight, and nobody really gets hurt because you got the shoulder pads and the helmet.
Yeah.
But if you win the fight, you usually move up. This is Coach Lambright's flat. You move up in the depth chart.
Yeah.
And Freddie and I were on kickoff together. This was practice, and I was always hustling down because I felt like I had to. I didn't feel like I was as talented as the rest of the team. And I had to wait for Freddie to get in the huddle. He was in the first line of guys who put the hands on their knees.
Yeah.
I had to wait for Freddie to get in the huddle before I could get in the huddle. So I'm waiting. Freddie wasn't in a hurry, and I didn't know him very well. He was a freshman, and I gave him a pat on the side. I said, "Come on, Freddie, you know, come on, buddy, you know, get in the huddle." And he turned and got in my face, and he said, "If you ever touch me again, I will kill you." and my first thought was, "Oh, I get to move up in the depth chart." And then I thought, I looked at him closer. I said, "He's going to kill me." I could see it.
Yeah.
I'm going to move down in the depth chart. I'm not going to be able to play. But he was the sweetest guy.
Yeah.
But you want him on your team.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Freddie and Joe were very close. Freddie passed away 20 years ago?
Yeah, 2003.
California Highway Patrolman.
Highway Patrolman, yeah, unfortunately, an accident was 16.
As I recall, they actually revived it. He was going to be okay, but he had an artery.
Yeah.
A severed artery they didn't see.
They didn't know. So we were actually, I was living in Cincinnati, and he was about to be turned 40. In July 1st. And he was always so paranoid about turning 40 because his mom and his dad both died at 39. I don't know if people knew that. So he was so paranoid. He was 39, about to be 40. So he was so paranoid. He had basically prepared, you know, I bought insurance for the house and for all the property. So if he never got to 40, then his family and kids be set up. So he was having Eric Davis, Cincinnati Red baseball player. He went to high school, the rival high school with Fred. We were planning this big 40th birthday party. He had comedians and all that coming. He had planned this, and then it was a week before we was coming. I was bringing my whole family to California. I just talked to him earlier that day. His wife at the time called me when he had the accident. So I talked to Fred in the ambulance. So he was just, so we were talking, and he was just.
Did you say in the ambulance?
In the ambulance, yeah.
So so everybody knows, Freddie was a California Highway Patrol chips.
Yes.
And someone was.
It was a 16-year-old. He was a mile from his exit. A 16-year-old, unfortunately, she lost control of her vehicle and she went over 2 lanes. Don't know what she was actually doing, and hit him. He was on his motorcycle, and they knew he had broke his pelvis. But he was, Robin showed up on the scene. I talked to him, and we were just thinking that, kind of ruined the 40th birthday. Never imagined anything.
Thought he was going to be okay.
Yeah, so
pelvis.
Yeah, so he's on the way to the hospital. So I said, well, hey, okay, I'll probably just come there a little earlier, than the family. We already had tickets. Probably in the next week we were all coming. And maybe it wasn't, maybe an hour later, his wife called, and she called and she was just screaming. And so, my wife, I was there, and I just kind of fell on the ground, and, I'll be there on my way. And I just got up, put some clothes on and went to the airport. Didn't have a ticket, and actually got stopped. I'm driving to the airport. I'm flying to the airport, and I'm bawling, speeding. Police pulled me over, and I couldn't stop crying. And the police actually, he pulls up there, and I tell him what happened, and tell him that he's a police officer, and he escorted me the rest of the way to the house. I was probably maybe 3 or 4 miles.
You in Cincinnati?
Yeah, Cincinnati, and he escorted me to the airport.
Nice.
So, just got there, man. So, it's just, I try to, we have great memories, of our guys. We have some, fallen guys, man, with Homie and Reggie, and part of that defense.
Rod.
So, guys will always be, true and dear to our heart.